Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Welcome to the online session of your Social Science children of 6th standard. Here we have been seeing about the lesson, the Earth in the Solar System. And in that lesson, we have been seeing about the Big Bang Theory, then the stars, galaxies, solar system, sun and the planets. So what was it all about Big Bang Theory? Shall we have a quick recap of what we have seen in the last session? So Big Bang Theory is all about how the universe which is existing today has been formed. We have seen about that. Then we have seen about the stars, which are the heavenly bodies. Then we have seen about the galaxies, which is the cluster of stars. Then the solar system, where sun is the center and it has 8 planets around it. Then we have seen about sun, which is the biggest star of the solar system. And then we have seen about the planets, right? So now we are going to see about constellations, the Earth, the other planets, satellites, moon and other heavenly bodies. We are going to see about all these in today's session. So first we will see what is constellation. So constellation is again a group of stars which when we connect to each other we can see a particular pattern, okay, a particular figure or a pattern, and that formation or that particular pattern is called as constellation, right? So here group of stars in the sky appear to form certain fixed patterns which can be seen from the earth, and such patterns are called as constellations. Constellations are usually named after the figures they are thought to resemble. So they form fixed pattern and that is easily visible from the earth also, right? And they are named, these constellations are named after the pattern which they resemble, okay? So when they look like a bear or when they look like a tiger or when they look like a lion, yes, we name those constellations based on that. So here we can see the example Orion. Orion means hunter, right? So these stars together, okay, when they form a figure of hunter, we call that pattern as Orion, okay, and these 3 stars are called as, these 3 stars together are called as Orion belt, okay. Next, the next thing is, yes, here Ursa Major. Ursa Major is nothing but the star pattern which forms a bear-like structure, and that we call it as Ursa Major. Then we have Leo. Leo is nothing but lion, okay, so it resembles a lion and we call it as Leo. Then we could see a bull-shaped constellation and that we name it as Taurus. So these are all the various examples of constellations, right? So now we are going to see about Earth, more about Earth. So we know that Earth is one among the planets in the solar system. From the sun it is located in the 3rd position. So based on the size, how much big it is the 5th largest planet in the solar system. So Earth is 5th largest planet in the solar system. When viewed from the space, the Earth looks like a blue ball. Yes, Earth looks like a blue ball. Why is it looking like a blue ball? Because 2/3 of the Earth's surface, okay, almost the majority portion of the Earth's surface is covered by water, and that water is mainly from the oceans and seas. So because of that, when we see from the space, okay, Earth looks like a blue ball. So here when viewed from the space, the Earth looks like a blue ball because 2/3 of the Earth's surface is covered with water of seas and oceans. So because of this, Earth is also called as the blue planet. Yes, how do we call the Earth? We call it as blue planet. Then the shape of the Earth, how does the Earth look like? We would have always seen it in round shape. The actual shape of the Earth is similar to that of the orange fruit. Okay, so how will an orange look? It will be round in shape, but the top part and the bottom part of the orange will be flat. Yes, so it will be like, yes, so this is how the earth also looks like. So this particular shape, we call it as geoid shape, right? So the shape of the earth is geoid, and the meaning of the word geoid is earth shaped. Fine. So that is all about the shape of the earth. Then human beings. So now let us understand about the solar. We have understood about the solar system. Are there living beings, any living beings living in any other planets other than the earth? No. Human beings, animals, plants, everything lives only on earth. Why? How is that possible? Let us understand about that now. The earth contains water, which is essential for life. So we require water. Without water, we cannot live. So that is available only on the surface of the earth. So that is why earth is capable of holding the human beings or living things at life. Then the distance between the earth and the sun, okay, it is such that the earth gets the right amount of heat from the sun to support life. We of course need heat, because without heat the planet will be like freezing, no, it will be too cold to live. So the distance of the earth from the sun, because we have Mercury, we have Venus, and then we are positioned in the solar system. On that case, the distance between the earth and the sun is such that the heat we receive from the sun is perfectly enough for us to survive on the earth. Okay. So we get right amount of heat from the sun. So if we were closer, okay, if not in the position where we are today, if we were a bit closer to the sun, it would have been too hot. And the same way, if we had been farther from the sun, again it would have been too cold to live on the earth. And also that is why the distance from the earth and to the sun is perfect, that we get right amount of heat. So we get correct water, we get heat from the sun in a perfect amount. Then what do we get? The earth's atmosphere contains oxygen, which is essential for life. So when the earth's surface is like this, when it is a round shaped earth, no, it is completely covered with a layer, okay. That layer is called as atmosphere. Atmosphere is the layer of air. This atmosphere layer consists of oxygen. All the necessary gases for human beings and living things survival is present in this atmosphere layer, and oxygen is present, which is very much required for the living beings. And the layer of atmosphere also forms a protective layer that filters out the harmful rays of the sun. So not all the rays from the sun are healthy for us. Yes, usually when we are asked to go for morning walk, they will say that the sun's rays consist of vitamin D. But does it contain all the day the same vitamin? No. Yes, it also contains harmful rays, which is not good for us. So this atmosphere layer filters those rays and sends it back. It will not absorb it to the earth. Okay, so that is the work of this atmospheric layer. So that is how all these things put together makes the earth, the planet where we can survive comfortably, right? So now we will understand about the other planets in the solar system. So apart from the earth, we know that we have 7 more planets in the solar system. So of those 7 planets, 3 planets are made up of rocks, okay, rock structures similar to earth. Earth is also made up of rocks. The same way there are 3 more planets which are made up of rocks. So what are those planets? Mercury, Venus and Mars. And then the other 4 planets, okay, are made up of gases. So a planet which is completely made up of gases is not suitable for survival. So here you could see Saturn, Jupiter, Uranus and Neptune are the 4 planets which are made up of gases. So 4 planets made up of rocks are Mercury, Venus, Earth and Mars. Then the last 4 planets, Saturn, Jupiter, Uranus and Neptune, are made up of gases, right. Now we will see about satellites. So satellites are again very similar to the planets. They are also the heavenly bodies. Like the planets, they do not have their own lights. They reflect the light from the sun and then they shine, okay. So just as planets revolve around the sun, there are heavenly bodies that revolve around the planets. Yes, that is another important thing about the satellites. See, we have seen that the planets move around the sun in their own orbits. Hope you all remember that in our previous lesson. So when the planets are revolving around the sun, the same way the planets have the satellites that revolves around the planets, okay. So planets goes around the sun, satellites goes around the planet, right. And then, so these heavenly bodies are called as satellites. So they do not have light on their own and reflect the light of the sun just like the planets. So they do not have their own lights, they just reflect the light from the sun, and some planets have more number of satellites, okay. So the example would be Jupiter has 67 satellites for itself. And there are planets which have no satellites at all. Mercury, Venus and all have no satellites. And what is the satellite of the Earth? Moon, okay. So moon is the satellite of the Earth, and now we are going to see about moon. What is moon? So it is the only satellite of the Earth. The Earth has only one satellite and that is moon. It is located around 3,84,400 kilometers away from the Earth. It is the satellite of the Earth, but see the distance between the Earth and the moon. Yes, it is located 3,84,400 kilometers away. And it takes about 28 days for the moon to spin around the own axis, and also it takes the same time for the moon to complete its rotation around the Earth. Just as the planets rotates and revolutes around the sun, okay. We have seen no planets rotate around themselves, the same way they go around the sun, right. So the same way the satellite also will rotate around themselves and also they will go around the planets. So for moon, it takes 28 days for both. Moon takes 28 days to go around itself, at the same time it takes the same 28 days to move around the Earth. So because of that, what happens, you know, we will see only the same face of the moon every time. We will not see the other side of the moon because both rotation takes place in the same period. So because of that, we are not able to see the other side of the moon. We are always seeing the same side of the moon. And recently the moon has been found to have small amounts of water and a thin atmosphere. So it has been found out by various astronauts that moon consists of little water and also a layer of atmosphere. Now we are going to see about the other heavenly bodies, right. So apart from these stars, planets, everything, satellites, all these things, there are numerous smaller bodies which also move around the sun. So in this solar system, right, we have seen about planets, sun, stars, satellites, everything we have seen. So apart from this, there are many more small objects around the sun, okay, that goes around the sun. So we will see what are those: asteroids, comets, meteoroids, meteors and meteorites, okay. Meteoroids, meteors and meteorites. So first we will see what are these asteroids. So they are small rocky bodies believed to be the parts of the planets that exploded millions of years ago. These asteroids are like rock-like structures, okay. So they are believed to be the parts of the planet and during the big explosion that took place, okay. So they are believed to be the parts of those planets, right. And they are usually found in the belt between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter. So this is usually found in between Mars and Jupiter planets, and that particular belt, okay, so the distance or the gap between two orbits, that is called as a belt, and this belt between Mars and Jupiter is called as asteroid belt because there are more number of asteroids found there. So here you could see a stone like structure and that is asteroid. Yes. So we have four largest asteroids: Ceres 939 kilometers, Vesta 525 kilometers, Pallas 512 kilometers, and Hygiea 434 kilometers. These are the four largest asteroids. Now we will see about comets. So these are also a rock-like structure, but they are not exactly a rock. Okay, they are made up of dust, water and rock. Okay, it consists of dust, water and rock. They have tails made of gas and dust particles. So these comets have a tail. Okay, so that is made up of gas and dust particles, and their orbits around the sun are very long. So we see them very rarely. So their orbits around the sun are very long, that is they go very farther places. So that is why we are not able to see them regularly. There is a comet, a very famous comet called as Halley's comet, which appears once in 76 years. Okay, which appears once in 76 years. We can see it from the earth itself, and the last time it appeared was 1986, right. Then here you could see a comet. Yes, this is the comet, Halley's comet, which I was telling about, and that appeared in March 20th, 1986. So now we will see about meteoroids. Okay. So the three words which will be similar to us, but we should understand the difference between these three terms. So meteoroids are small pieces of comet or asteroids that moves around the sun. So it is a part of either comet or asteroid, and it moves around the sun, and that is what we call it as meteoroids. Okay. So here we could see a meteoroid. Then what about meteors? So these meteoroids, I told you now, no, what happens when they come closer to the earth. Okay, when they are moving and when they come closer to the earth, what happens when it comes very close to the earth? Okay, when it reaches the layer of atmosphere, the air layer, I told you, no. So when these meteoroids reach this atmospheric layer, what happens? It starts burning up due to the friction when they get rubbed with the air, right. This stone like structure, when it gets rubbed with the air, it starts burning up, and that is called as a meteor. Okay, so they are also called as shooting stars. So here when meteoroids get too close to the earth, when they come very close near the earth, friction with the air causes them to burn. So this meteoroids, when it reaches the layer of atmosphere, it starts to burn, and that burning meteoroid is called as a meteor, and these meteors are also called as shooting stars. So here you could see a meteoroid. When it comes closer to the earth, it starts burning up and it falls like, it looks like a star that falls on the earth, and that is why it is called as a shooting star. Now we will see what is a meteorite. Okay, so sometimes a meteor without being completely burnt falls on the earth. So as I said, it will start burning in the layer of atmosphere. Usually many of these meteoroids will turn into ashes. So we are not worried about those. But some meteors, what happens, that will reach the earth without even being burnt fully. Okay, so that will, it will create a huge dents and craters. Dents means a big hollow. Okay. In Tamil we will say it as pallam. So when these meteors, when they are not fully burnt but they reaches the earth, that will create a huge dent or a crater, and those are called as meteorites. Clear? So now here we could see the meteorite. There are meteorites which are even older than the earth, right? So now we could see the process. So a meteoroid, right? When it gets burnt in the air, it becomes a meteor, and when it finally reaches the earth, it will become a meteorite. Clear? Yes, children. So with this, we have come to the end of this lesson. Hope the lesson was very interesting, children. See you soon in the next session. Thank you. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. To receive our online lessons, Please press the subscribe button and you will receive the latest updates.